Welcome to the Hard&Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast.
Yo. The Yeet Masters in the house. What's going on, Hard&Soft Pro Wrestling Podcast Nation? It's your boy, Big Hard. And you know I'm rolling with my shoot brother, Bang Bang, the Big Softy. What's going on?
What's up, Big Hard? Big Softy here in the Soft Studios. Recapping week 2 of Monday Night Raw, the Netflix era. Big Hard, overall thoughts on the show? Did you catch the whole thing? Did you watch it in the morning? What'd you think?
I watched it right when it came on, and I finished when it ended. I did not hit the pause, fast forward, or rewind button. Even though you have the option to, it's nice. But it was a great episode. Started off with the Punk, Drew, Seth segment. So Punk started out, then Seth came in, then Drew came out. All three are in the Royal Rumble, along with Roman Reigns. It's going to be a great Rumble. John Cena. So there's 5 big names right there. So that was great. What'd you think of that segment?
So before we get there, Big Heart, real quick, the debut episode of Monday Night Raw, the ratings came out. They got 4.9 million. So
now that wasn't live, right?
No, that was while the show was going on. 4.9 million people were viewing. A normal Monday Night Raw is around 2 or 1.5.
That's pretty crazy.
2. So they doubled and then some. So it's a big number, but maybe not a crazy number that they might have been thinking. Like the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson was like 60 million.
Yeah,
know?
but that reaches out to a lot more people than just wrestling fans. I mean, there's so many people that like wrestling plus boxing plus UFC, whereas like I know you watch the UFCs mostly all the time. I really don't watch the UFC that much, and I'm not saying I don't like it. It's just I don't know. I prefer the pageantry of wrestling, right. So that's kind of what it is. I think the Jake Paul and the fact that it was Mike Tyson brought in those numbers. I mean, come upstairs. I'll show you a boxing move. I mean, Jake Paul can get the numbers. Yeah, I get it, but that's Tyson. He hasn't boxed in how long? They wanted to see that, so. I think 4.9 is pretty respectable. I'd like to see what this week clocked in at. I'm sure it wasn't as big.
Yeah, a completely different show this week too.
Yeah, it was like a regular Raw.
Regular Raw, definitely back to normal programming. Way more wrestling based. It was almost like they knew they weren't going to get much wrestling in the first week, so they wanted to pack it in this week. A run time of 2 hours, 33 minutes.
I was surprised when the street fight came on. I looked at my clock. It was like 10 o'clock, a little after 10. I was like, man, is this match going to be an hour? And it was done after the match. I was kind of surprised, but I know Triple H said that 2.5 hours is like an ideal time for wrestling.
It was plenty. It was plenty. And when it was going off air, it just seemed like a good time to cut it.
It was nice. I wasn't falling asleep. It was great.
Also, we had the Corey Graves drama looming around this week. What do you think of that, Big Hard? For me, it's a little hard to digest. I think it's a work.
Yeah.
I don't know what the play is other than he's almost cleared to wrestle and he's going to start a program with McAfee.
So McAfee enters the Royal Rumble. Next entrant is Corey Graves. Corey Graves throws McAfee over the top rope. No, I don't know.
I like it.
I think it's a work. And you know, McAfee takes breaks sometimes during like the football season too. So it's possible that, you know, Corey Graves comes back, but I think it's a work. If those tweets are still up, and I'm not on X or anything like that. So usually when they post stuff like that, they delete it when it's not a work, like the whole Phoenix stuff. If those tweets are still up, which I don't know, then it's a work. There's no way. And he's a Triple H guy. I don't think he's going to go in there and badmouth Triple H. He's got a good position where he's at.
Right.
Whether you're on NXT, Raw, SmackDown, I don't think it matters.
So we start the show with CM Punk in the Vince McMahon blacked out SUV. I thought, God damn it, I'm back. It was coming, but it was the Punker right into Gorilla, right into the shot of his entrance. he starts cutting a promo, hit my music like you're going to hear at the end of the Royal Rumble because I'm going to win. Bang, Seth comes out. They start cutting it up. Bang, Drew comes out. I loved Punk's reactions to Seth's entrance, and he was almost crapping all over Michael Cole and McAfee for doing the whoa. So I like Punk's reactions, especially when Drew came out. And I do like how they their segment didn't hit exactly like they wanted. I liked how they were going to do the old school, you've seen it 1,000 times, I'll see you in the Rumble, and I'll see you in the Rumble. And part of me likes it, but part of me was like, you could have been a little more creative. Like, I've seen that 1,000 times, and it just seemed like their promos, while they were super unscripted, it just didn't have the oomph that a Seth McIntyre Punk segment could, with all of the story and background to them. But overall, it was good. It just, to me, it wasn't something special. And when I see Punk, Seth, and Drew right now, like, that's, other than Roman and Cody, those are your main guys.
Yeah. I thought it was a pretty good segment. I'm not a fan of the interruption segments. You know, one guy comes out, then another guy interrupts, and another guy interrupts. At least it didn't turn into a three-way match right after that, because if Teddy Long was there, it might have been a tag team match play. I don't know. But, yeah, good segment to start the show. We all knew going in this Chad Gable match was going to be against Penta.
Penta is not all elite.
It was great that they put his merch up online the same, like, the morning of Monday Night Raw. So it's like, we all knew it was going to be him. Then you knew it's going to be him. So, and for the longest time when he was in AEW, I don't think they had his mask up for sale. And I'm pretty sure they sold a ton of Penta masks on that first day. I saw people in the crowd wearing them.
That's a good point, Chris. Like, if you remember, like, when I was a kid, I always wanted the Scotty 2 Hottie bucket hat with the spiked hair. I bet if I was a kid right now, I'd want a Cody Rhodes, like, T-shirt, but I'd want a Penta mask and paint my chin up.
That'd be great. And he looks amazing. And, you know, there was a couple fumbles in the match, but honestly, you can't really just fault these guys for messing up moves. Like the leg drop that he did bounced off the bottom rope. It kind of looked a little but you can't fault these guys for that, because honestly, I'm not gonna say I was in the ring a couple times doing some training and stuff like that, and it's very hard. You might think it's kind of easy to go out there and do these things in front of thousands of people, but
it's even hard for Big Hard.
It's very hard. And he was in front of his, you know, kind of like a hometown hero there. He had his family in the front row. I thought it was a great match. I was surprised that they did the destroyer, but they called it a Mexican destroyer. And I was surprised that they did that Penta driver at the end, because of the whole, you know, pile driver thing going on, and, you know, the storyline with Orton. But it was kind of a different pile driver than that. Thought it was great. Loved the finisher.
So you have two unscripted, not overly produced segments in a row. Like the promo battle in the beginning, you could tell it was completely unscripted, and it wasn't perfect. So maybe that's something I almost like. It makes it, you're on the edge of your seat, kind of really watching, other than seeing the same kind of perfect, everything's, you know, kind of cookie cutter. But yeah, the Penta Gable, I was surprised with how much. I get it, man. He's a long-time professional wrestler. He had a great run in AEW. He's done a bunch in the sport. I was surprised how much steam he had, but the crowd would pop every time they would promote him. It seemed like his entrance, the flames and all kind of threw it off for me. I couldn't really see him. I like his, it's that Razor Ramon Mexican walk, high step to the ring. He's probably the coolest looking luchador I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's definitely got that futuristic look. He looks like somebody from the year 20 or 2300. You know what I mean? So it's like he could be 100 years from now, and I think he would just start fitting in then. I think he has a great look, and that promo at the end was great. I think he got a hold of the crowd with that, and I think they need to strap the rocket to this guy. It doesn't have to be a world champion right away, but I don't think they should be putting him in a tag team. Keep him away from the LWO. Put him up against Rey Mysterio. They had a great match in Lucha Underground. I think that would be a great match for him. But keep him away from putting him in a group. He needs to be alone. And then if Phoenix comes in, they can tag. But I think he's a great solo superstar.
Yeah, and this match showed me just how good Chad Gable is, because like you said, Big Hard, it was almost a slow to start match. They had a lot of build to it, and the crowd was on their feet for it. But the match, you could tell some of the spots didn't go the way they wanted, but Chad really sunk it in, started working the leg, started hitting some Germans, and then Chad Gable, the way he sold that Mexican Destroyer, it kind of locked us all in. And then the big tope suicida a la JR got us into it, got a couple of This Is Awesomes, and then the Penta Driver and the sacrifice. I like the look of that. He makes it really look like he's hurting the shoulder of his opponent. And Penta Driver. And then the promo at the end, like you said, Big Hard, it was quite literally a dude exhaling that, like, I'm finally here.
Yeah, he's like this is where I wanted to be forever. And I'm here now. This is my new home. And, you know, they sold the Destroyer. It wasn't like one person hit the Destroyer, he gets right back up. He hits a Destroyer, he gets right back up. He hits a Destroyer, he gets right back up. Penta was selling the leg. I mean, it was, you know, it was the story arc. And I don't know why. I know that he was on top in AEW, you know, Young Bucks matches, tag team championships, but like I said, they never tried to sell his mask. Like, it's just they didn't capitalize on anything, and it's like one night. Just hopefully they don't like fall at this. You know what I mean? Hopefully they keep him going. I hope they don't just take him down and, you know, put him in just a plain mid card, because they made such a big deal about this.
I think you're gonna see him. He's a guy that will look good with titles around him. Title around the waist, title around the neck. And I think, too, the next time you see him work on Raw, you're going to be like, wow, he's so much better already. Like, you could tell some of the stuff he was doing, he's not used to the hard camera and being here in this camera shot. And when you make this entrance, you know, I think you're going to see him study that. And by next week or the next time you see him, you'll be like, wow, he's really improving in kind of the WWE style.
Well, he's not used to seeing fans behind the hard cam, so... No, I digress. But Sheamus, Ludwig Kaiser, great match, banger after banger. I'll tell you, Sheamus is great, and they set that up with a Sheamus versus Braun Breaker at the Saturday night's main event. So I'm happy about that. I think that would be a good match too.
Yeah, we got a little Daniel Cormier in the crowd. I would have liked to see more celebrities and stars, old wrestlers. I think you could still do that. I'd like to see that for like till Mania. I don't know. Or a little bit longer. I'd like to see some guys, but Ludwig hit a drop kick to Sheamus, who was sitting on a chair right behind the commentary table, right in front of Daniel Cormier in the crowd. It was a crazy spot. Good match. We got into a Sammy Rollins and then kind of like a Sammy Miz segment. So
that was good stuff, though.
A bunch of guys planting the seed at a potential Sami Zayn world title run. And I can see that happening. What say you, Big Heart?
I mean, that was great. Rollins is, you know, telling him, like, are you going to do something for yourself? You know, you helped Roman win last week. You helped him win here. You helped him win there. It's like, what are you, just his lackey boy? And then he steps up to the Miz. And it's funny that I'm wondering why, like, the Wyatt Six just got, like, the transfer window over to SmackDown. I think it's because they want to keep him on USA. Maybe USA, they're trying to keep USA hot with some stuff. But it's kind of weird. Like, the Wyatt Six could just show up at SmackDown. They don't need to be transferred. It's that's besides the point. But it's funny how Karrion Kross kind of throws Miz under the bus. Miz is like, "Hey, we got a problem here with Sami Zayn," and he's like, "We." You do. And Sami Zayn won with the Blue Thunder Bomb, man.
I could almost see Sami Zayn and Karrion Kross having some kind of Karrion's a talent that you're going to see. I think there's a lot of untapped potential in him. Gunther comes out with the world title looking like $1 million, looking like a polished champion to run the company. And WWE superhero Jey Uso, more fans behind this guy than maybe anyone in the company. Yeeting out of their brains because they want to see Jey Uso win a world title. Now it's a little strange because if we're gonna be honest and fair to both sides, I think Jey Uso declared himself in the Royal Rumble, but he has a match for the title January 25th at Saturday night's main event. So are you telling me he's clearly losing that? Because he can't win the World Title.
Yeah. I think that's clear choice right there. Is Jey Uso's going to lose this match?
So that's some Tony Khan booking right there, if you're asking me.
Yeah, and I think it's just I think Saturday night's main event is kind of just a blowover show. They had the first one, they made the big pomp and circumstance about it. I don't think they're doing that.
The fans
into it this time.
The fans are really going to want to see Jey win a title, though. They want that moment.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen. A world title is not going to happen, I don't think. There's just too much.
I honestly think he's ready, dude. But he's going to be – I agree with you in the sense that I think he's going to be so good in the chase of the title that when you put it on him, now what?
Yeah, and I think the chase is great. And, I love Jey Uso. I'm not talking crap on him, but he does need to kind of step up the in-ring move set that he has, because the super kick, the spear, it's just, he needs to do a little bit more than that. And, but I think it's going to be a good match. I think he'll come this close to winning that title, but Gunther is going to go over in that match. But it was a great promo, and he spoke from the heart, talking about how, man, I'm not supposed to be in this spot, but this is me, Us, and here I am.
I think Jey is really sinking into what his character is and who he is. He's probably
great, dude.
He's got maybe the strongest character in the business right now because he knows what he wants to do. He knows how to cut promos the way he wants to. Moving on, women's IC title, Dakota Kai, Lyra.
Great match.
Lyra, what'd you think, Big Hard?
Great match. Short match, but it was great. I mean, they did that suplex spot off the apron onto the floor. Just great back and forth. I like the match, and I think Lyra Valkyria was the right winner. And, Dakota Kai could have won too, but I think Lyra is the future of, maybe not the future of the whole women's division, but I think she is that workhorse, and I think she will carry that title. And, I think she was a good pick for it.
I think normally I side away from adding titles. I think you add too many, you just get all jumbled. And
I think one mid-card women's title would have been good, and they could have went to both shows.
I think it's going to be good for their division because I think for a long time it was just the Divas Championship or the women's title, and you only had maybe one main event. Now you have some stipulations and a good story and gimmick for more women's matches. I think you're going to see a lot of women step up and be motivated by those titles, and
you're
perform
right.
better.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of adding titles just for titles, but
I think
at least they're looking like they mean something. You know what I mean? So
and I really
we'll see how they do it.
Yeah. Rhea is interrupted by Nia. I am such not a Nia Jax fan, but I am now with her new run. I think she's doing awesome work. What a reaction from Nia Jax.
Oh, they almost didn't let her talk, man.
And she did great crowd work. She references Bayley in the crowd. Bayley interferes. They skirt Nia out of there. And you almost have a teaser of Bayley looking at the women's title, but handing it to Rhea and being respectful, asking Rhea, can I get in your ring? Seems like they might be teasing either a Rhea Nia or a Rhea Bayley or a triple threat or something along those lines.
Yeah, well, they're setting up because the Rumble's coming up, so they got to make it, that any title, I could win this Rumble and go for any title. So I think they did a great job with the segment. I'm a fan of Mommy, so any Mommy segment is good with Big Hard.
Damn it!
I love it.
Sammy goes over the Miz next. Hell of a nasty haluva kick. Maybe the nastiest, most realistic haluva kick I've seen.
It was good.
Yeah, man. Sami Zayn's the man.
Yep, The Miz is also a great superstar. They could use him for kind of almost anything they need. And yeah, great haluva kick. He won with the Blue Thunder Bomb, which never happens. And yeah, it was just a good match. And then we come to the main event here with the street fight between Priest and Finn. And I'll tell you, I wasn't really looking forward to this match because I'm kind of just over the whole Damian Priest and Finn Balor thing. But
Mhm.
they rocked the house, man. I mean, just hard hitting, Singapore canes, chair shots, tons of table spots. I mean, that Falcon Arrow off of uh, the ledge, whatever you want to call it, through the two tables, or I forget I think
Yeah,
Damian
yeah, yeah.
Priest calls it the Falcon Arrow.
Yep.
Um, Great spot. They put Finn on the stretcher, and Damian Priest gets him off, gets a coup de grace through the table, Razor's Edge through the table, then just a South of Heaven choke slam, and finished him off. I think that is the end of that feud. And earlier in the night, we had Dominic trying to kiss up to Liv Morgan, and she's like, "Well, I'm not mad at you, Dom, but why don't you go get my bags, and
Mhm.
why don't you get the car ready for valet once we're done tonight?" And I think this is kind of the implosion of the Judgment Day, and Damian Priest needs to possibly move to SmackDown at this point to get some new competition.
Yeah, it seems like the blow off of kind of the Priest story. I think he's going to move on. There's something about Damian Priest that's holding me back from believing in him as a main eventer. Um, but he'll
All
try.
rise for El
Yeah,
Campeon.
he's a little cringy, maybe, but he's still growing into whatever persona or Stone Cold took a while to become Stone Cold, is what I'm trying to say. But it
Yeah,
does seem like Finn and Liv are planning a turn on Dominic. My only question is, can you turn Dominic babyface
I
and
think you
have Finn
can.
be the heel?
I
Uh,
think you can.
yeah.
I think Dominic is so hated right now that the crowd is gonna love to love him.
Okay.
Which I don't know. I don't know how they're gonna do it, but honestly, they're gonna do it because the crowd's not gonna go with Liv. I'll tell you that much. And
Well,
I
speaking
think
of loving to love, I love the Hard and Soft Nation. Week 2, Monday Night Raw, Netflix era review from your favorite Shoot Brothers, Hard and Soft. Big Hard, you got anything else to say to the nation?
if you're not hard, you're soft.
Brother!